and now all of a sudden, you know, he's the geek squad.
It's got a lot of time.
We're on.
Okay. Well, I had to do something with the pen.
They don't want to.
Okay, everybody turn on your microphone, but don't block it with your computer.
Turn them on and block them with our computer. That seems counterintuitive.
Welcome, everyone, to the Mayor and Council meeting of February 27th. At this time, I ask you to look at your cell phones and kindly turn them off or put them on vibrate. Also, during the meeting, please refrain from texting. It is discourteous, disruptive, and could be construed as a violation of the Open Public Meetings Act. And at this time, I ask for roll call.
Mayor Schwager? Here. Councilman Bialy?
Here.
Councilman Knapp?
Here.
Councilman Kamala?
Here.
Councilman Levy?
Here.
Councilman Pinuccelli?
Here.
Councilman Talamini?
Here.
And if you could please stand for a salute to the flag and remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Be seated. This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Law, duly announced, advertised, and posted in the municipal building. The first thing I want to say is to our DPW, thank you, thank you, thank you. Our roads are fantastic. And yesterday I saw the roads were already started to be brined, and then I got up this morning and said, uh-oh, it's coming, because they were rebrined. All you have to do is drive around the county or anywhere in the near area, and you know when you get to Oakland, because the roads are great. And but in addition to our DPW and thanking our DPW, it is always nice to get correspondence with a compliment. You know, usually I get complaints, and so I thought I would read this to everyone. And it was from a woman who was visiting her grandson. She lives in Massachusetts, and she was here, and I received this on February 21st. Thank you to the she wrote, "Dear Mayor, thank you to the professional responders from Oakland, New Jersey. While visiting my son in Oakland on Monday night, my 3-year-old grandson had a breathing emergency. After calling 911, the police arrived within 2 minutes, followed by a medical team and then an ambulance. They immediately started treating my grandson in the ambulance, giving him immediately breathing relief. Unexpectedly, an engine fire erupted in the paramedic vehicle. The fire department arrived, and within minutes, and extinguished a significant fire. The police warned neighbors about concerns for an explosion. All did their jobs in a caring, efficient, and professional manner. You are very fortunate to have such a terrific team of first responders. Thank you." And she signed her name from Massachusetts. And to the fire department, thank you. To the police who are watching from upstairs, thank you. First aid, Pat, thank you. And to our DPW for protecting us on the roads, because the roads, they're predicting snow again, so hopefully the roads will be clear when we get out of here. But if anybody comes in and tells us it's starting to snow, we're going to be talking very rapidly to get out of here. This past Monday night, as you know, the Senior Citizen Center is closed, so there are a lot of meetings taking place in our library. And this past Monday night, I had the honor of meeting with the Girl Scouts. I was invited to meet with Troop 94659. These were girls who are getting ready for their Silver Award project. You know, the boys and the Boy Scouts have Eagle Scouts, and we don't hear about the girls and their wonderful projects. And they invited me, and it was just, it was wonderful. Suggestions, what the girls can do for our town, the community projects. And so I thanked the troop, and I thanked the girls, and I said, we're going to be watching these girls. They're going up to high school next year, and we're going to be seeing and hearing their names in the near future. But I always welcome meeting with Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, children. That's the best part. just talking to the young people of our community. We're very lucky. I have a notice from our Assemblywoman, Holly Shapezi, on, where did I put the notice? Holly Shapezi is sending a representative to Oakland on March 6th to, it'll be in the library from, I don't have the paperwork. Here it is. It is Wednesday, March 6, 2019, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the Oakland Public Library. It'll be downstairs. A representative from her office will be available to answer questions and provide information on how your local state legislative office can offer assistance. If you want to come, just go to the library. They have flyers. There's flyers in the municipal building, and it looks like this. And it's from our Assemblywoman, Holly Shapezi. So she's going around the county, and she will be in Oakland on Wednesday, March 6th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., downstairs in the library. If the high school, speaking of the high school, as I mentioned before, they have Flow Follies next week. And Flow Follies is made up of volunteer parents, residents, elected officials from all three towns, Oakland, Franklin Lakes, and Wyckoff. We're all in a scene. And all the money that they make goes to scholarships. So it's really a very worthwhile thing. It's, you know, you go Flow Follies, you can watch people making fools of themselves on the stage. There are some very excellent and talented people in the three towns. So go enjoy an evening. This year it's in Indian Hills High School. It's March 7th, 8th, 9th, and on the 10th, which is Sunday, you get lunch also, and that's included with the tickets. So the youth in town should encourage everybody to go and buy tickets. And this week, I was handed an envelope, a petition, and it was a petition from the Historic Society. I really don't know who sent it. It was just handed to me at Borough Hall, and I went over to one of our employees who is on the Historic Society, and I asked, who is the president of the Historic Society? And I was told it's Klaus Engelmuller. And I said, I would like to meet with John Bialy, who is our council liaison to the Historic Society Committee, historical properties in town, and set up a meeting with the Historic Society. I don't even know who's on this Historic Society. I'd like to see the bylaws of the Historical Society. I'd like to see what's going on and what they're offering to do to help. So I am reaching out to any member of the Historic Society. Please contact me. Don't keep it a secret. Don't just hand me an envelope with a blank petition saying this is how the Historical Society wants to be the stewards of the Van Allen House and the Stream House. You have to give us something concrete. And so I'm asking any member of the Historical Society to please contact me, contact Borough Hall, contact John Bialy, Richard Kunz. We're willing to meet with you. So we're reaching out to you, now reach out to us. And with that, I will,
1 minute, Mayor.
Sure.
I think, Rich, we had a conversation about that, and you informed me that you went back and looked, and the agreement with the Historic Society has expired.
Yeah, I think it's probably been expired for some time. And
Okay.
We
So
do
we
need to
have
work
to-
on a new agreement.
We have to renew that
well, we need to meet with them.
and set up whatever they need to set up.
So if you are a member, or Klaus, you're the president, I'm told you're the president, I don't know who the president is, please, we want to set up a meeting and let's sit down and talk. Because that's the only way you get anything done is through communication. And as you all know, I'm a firm believer in speaking to one another personally and not just writing letters. So with that, I will entertain a motion to open to the
So
public.
moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wish to speak? Oh, you don't have to raise your hand, it's not
Oh.
school, you could come up.
Okay.
You have to come up, go to the microphone's in the ceiling.
Sure.
So you have to give us your name and your address, and you could say,
Drew Fust. I live at 101 East Oak Street.
oh, we've been corresponding.
Yes, I'm corresponding with both of you.
Yes,
And Rich, you answered me this afternoon. Appreciate that. I just wanted to voice my concern about the trees being
The
cut
trees.
down. Yeah,
I thought you got a
because
response today.
I did. And I appreciate the responses, but I'm just really hoping you guys might be able to speak with either the HOAs or to speak with engineering or somebody who might be able to find a different solution in removing the 40 to 50 trees that surround the whole area.
But I was led to believe it was the association met.
We did have a meeting on site with the association and went over the plan and the reason for it. You know, it is unfortunate that we're kind of in this position that to ensure the proper operation of the plant, that, you know, the trees have to come down at this point.
Well, maybe we can, is John?
I'm here.
Here you are.
Yes.
Hi. That's why we have to have.
Good evening.
Why don't we try and set up another meeting with the association, see what we can do and come up with, you know, to talk.
Well,
talk
you
it out.
know what the process is aimed at doing.
Well, from what I've heard, I've lived there for 6 years. And I think the town used to take care of the sewage treatment plant?
Yes,
And
but
then we hired
that's temporary. The sewage treatment plant won't be a sewage treatment plant in a matter of 3 years. So in the meantime, the needles from the trees are causing havoc on the operation of the septic system or the sewage treatment plant.
Right.
So, and it doesn't stop, so.
Right. I think you are aware of all that.
I'm
Maybe
aware of
we
that.
can sit
Okay.
and talk, Richard, we can, and John, come up with a meeting, have the association, have some representatives come,
Yeah, I would really appreciate it, because I mean.
and
if
make
you-
sure you come.
Yeah, I mean, if you view where the trees are, I mean, there's at least 50 going around there. And
Right.
they're high, they're really tall, it must be at least 30, 40 years old. And if you did remove all those, you would be able to see, I mean, because I'm in Unit I-2, which is directly across from it, so it really impacts me greatly. You would be able to see 202, you'd be able to see, I mean, a lot more of the
Shopping
fire-
center.
Shopping center, fire engine. I mean, I just really think it would really impact the value of our property.
So, like I said, why don't we set up,
Tremendous.
Richard, maybe, you have the contact person of the president of the association?
I do. I can tell you, you know, we met out in the field with them, and they had expressed the same concerns that this resident is. And we talked about the need for it. We talked about the alternatives that we had looked at. You know, and it's really is kind of a measure of last resort. We were talking about screening and came to the conclusion that that wasn't really workable. At the end of the day, the homeowners association understood what we were doing and why we had to do it, and they reluctantly agreed with us. And we did make commitments to them in terms of their involvement in the process going forward. And, you know, temporary signage should be put up to indicate that it would, you know, that this is not a permanent condition, and providing them with input into the screening of the pump station once
So
those
why don't
plans
we
get
set up
developed.
another meeting? This way you can come to the meeting, you'll understand what's going on.
Okay.
John, our engineer, will
See,
come.
in my mind, when I think of temporary, I think of 2-3 months, not 2 to 3 years.
I know,
It's-
and
it's a tremendous amount of time to wait for something to be completed. And I mean, I don't think the plans are even laid out yet completely for what it's even gonna be. So there's no real guarantee that that's gonna happen in 2 to 3 years. Things can change in that amount of time.
Life can change in a day.
Yeah, so I'm really hoping you guys can.
All right,
Help us
Richard
out
will,
on this.
Richard will contact
We'll
the
reach out.
association. The association will, and make sure you know, best know who the president is.
Yeah.
Make sure that you are asked to be a part of the meeting.
Okay.
They'll send representatives, John and I'll come, and we'll figure out what we can do.
All right, I really
There's
appreciate it.
there's always room for compromise.
Great, that'd be super. Appreciate it, thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else? If not, motion to close.
Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of minutes. It's on your computer. February 13th, 2019. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Bianchi.
Yes.
Councilman Knapp.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Levy.
Yes.
Councilman Pinktelli.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
There is minutes on the minutes. We have the minutes from the executive meeting of February 13th, 2019. If there's going to be any additions or deletions or discussion, it must be done during executive session. So at this time, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second? Will there be any discussion? If not, roll call.
Councilman Bianchi.
Yes.
Councilman Knapp.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Levy.
Yes.
Councilman Pinktelli.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
We moved the agenda around so that you can leave if you really want to, all of you. So at this time, is there a motion to appoint to the Oakland Volunteer Fire Department Andrew Palkowitz? I hope I said that right.
So moved. Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Bialy.
Yes.
Councilman Knapp.
Yes.
Councilman Kumar.
Yes.
Councilman Levy.
Yes.
Councilman Piantelli.
Yes.
Councilman Calhoun.
Yes.
And as I said before we started, we are so fortunate with our fire department, our police department, our first aid squad, which are, other than, the first aid squad and the fire department are all volunteers. And you're joining a great group of people, so thank you. And I know it's a lot of work because we were invited, what was it, how many years ago did we go into the make-believe burning house?
About 4
3 years ago?
Three.
And we saw what actually happens, simulated. So, Andrew. And who's right behind the Bible? Where is the Bible?
It's not there. Is it in the podium?
Anybody have a Bible? You have one? Oh, why don't you raise your
Do we
hand?
have a movie picture?
We don't have it on the iPads?
I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. Does anybody have it on a phone? What happened to the Bible?
It's usually in the front of the.
Right here, right here.
You have it?
Oh, they locked it up?
No.
Now
I'm sure that's not a dictionary.
We had Russ go get it.
It's very heavy. You ready? Okay, left hand, raise your right hand. Ready? Are you gonna have a problem with the help of God?
Not at all.
Okay, okay. I
I, Andrew Palkowicz,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and the governments
and the governments
established in the United States
established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform
perform
all the duties of the office of firefighter
all the duties of the office of firefighter
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Firefighter? No, maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe. Well, we have to sign to make it
Okay,
official.
very good.
Okay, you sign and address. And thank you so much for your service.
Thank you for having me.
We now have another firefighter, so thank you. We keep this.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, you're welcome to stay, but if you have to leave, we understand. You may want to stay for a little bit because we have something very special now. It's a presentation by a longtime resident, Peter Margulis, and there's going to be an unveiling. There's going to be a show. All right, Peter Margulis, it's all yours.
Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Peter Margulis. I live at 125 Mandigo Avenue. I've been a resident for since 1986, so I've been around for a while. I just want to see if I can get this presentation up on the screen.
As long as we don't have to follow it on the computer.
I'll help you.
Oh, you will?
Take it turned off.
Do I have to say?
No, it was on.
Yeah, timed out.
Oh, timed out. Oh.
Wait, he's doing the presentation on his cell phone?
No, it's going to be on this TV and on that TV.
Yeah, but I mean, he's
There you
doing it
go.
off of his cell phone?
Oh, I don't know.
Yes, it's off of my cell phone.
Why can't we do that?
It should be
Okay,
on.
that's cool.
It should be on both sides, right?
You're just jealous.
Oh, I am.
Oh, there it is, on both.
You can't have a flip phone.
You're out.
Okay.
Thank you very much for allowing me to speak. I've lived in Oakland for a long time with my wife, raised my children here. It's really a beautiful place, you know, surrounded by natural beauty. It's got some really great recreational facilities here in town. sports and walking track and really some neat things. The Oakland Public Library, which has just been reopened, a wonderful facility, and it's going to be a different facility with all sorts of opportunities for presentations and cultural activity there. But the one thing that Oakland really could use is more public art. And public art is really key to a community. Public art is the rise of public art throughout the nation and throughout New Jersey communities is increasing dramatically. And really, it would be wonderful if Oakland could join the cultural ranks of communities in New Jersey that not only have improved their civic infrastructure with things like great libraries and great recreational facilities, but also add public art to it. Really, the only public art that you see in town is at the public library on a wall. This mural over here, but I think there's a lot that can be done. You know, public art really, it inspires people of all ages. It can increase tourism and business. It can create really a vitality in a community. And it can develop really a broader and more intellectual understanding about issues. The public art in New Jersey, you can see it's springing up in different communities. And it's really been fostered greatly by the New Jersey State Council of the Arts. But communities like Clinton, Leonia, Haddonfield, Essex County, Morris County, they really are trying to create more activity, more vibrancy in their community with public art. I don't know if anybody's gone to Leonia, but they've got in Leonia, in one of their public parks, they've got a rotating sculpture garden of about 10 different sculptures that rotate out after about 2 years. A new group come in. You go down to South Orange. The Wildlife Sculpture Park in South Orange has got a beautiful little sculpture garden. Clinton Arts, again, more sculpture throughout the community. And it really, again, it raises the awareness in the community. It really helps to educate people and inspire citizens. And really, art defines what a community is all about. The benefits of the arts, excuse me, in terms of education, it helps inspire children, grades 12 through K through 12. It creates discipline, it creates teamwork, it creates certainly creativity. And it also is a way for children to express themselves. You know, sometimes when kids are locked up in their own emotions, they have no way to let that out. Art is usually that outlet that helps them explore things. You also have, in terms of the arts, you've got economic and community development. In New Jersey, the #2 industry is tourism. Now, I'm not saying everybody's going to flock to Oakland for its public art projects, but what it can do is create more community involvement, more business activity, more people coming to the town to check things out, especially if you have something like a sculpture garden, or you've got perhaps different stations in town where art is located. It will bring people out. It'll bring students out. It'll bring art instructors out from different colleges, and that will also help business. It'll sell more sodas at Krauser's. It'll sell more groceries at the local stores, and it'll certainly help with the local industry like printing and maybe beyond that, like architecture and planning. It helps with industries. Industries love communities that have public art. It creates a vibrancy that they look for, intellectual and also business vibrancy that draws industries to communities with public art. And certainly it's a way to celebrate events, whether it's historic, whether it is some type of community activity. It's a way to really create a point in time to celebrate that event. Anybody go to LBI, Long Beach Island, and you see down along, I've seen you in Long Beach Island, and you see down there the big clams. They're about 4 or 5 foot size clams that are reproduction of clams that are made out of fiberglass, but they're painted. And they have different scenes on them. There's probably about 20 of them across Long Beach Island. They're positioned at businesses, they're positioned in parks, and it creates a lot of fun for people to go see. It also creates business traffic when people go to that, perhaps a shoe store or a restaurant that's got one of these big painted clams. Chances are they're going to go into that business and spend their money. So what I've done is I've created a sculpture, a public sculpture, which I'd like to suggest that it go into Veterans Park. I know certainly the veterans have to be brought on board with this. They really have not seen this before. But a good friend of mine and a good friend of Oakland kind of inspired me, Larry Levine. Larry's been a great supporter in town of many different philanthropic activities, from planters of flowers along the 202 Rampo Valley Road, to helping the tennis courts, to the library, to the senior center. And so Larry kind of put a bug in my bonnet to work on something. I've been a sculptor for since about 1970, and creating art. I devoted most of my adult career to working to support my family, so I didn't do a whole lot of art, but I do art. And I'm pleased to show this to you as an idea for Veterans Park. This is a 1/3 size model of a sculpture, an aluminum sculpture that would be positioned in Veterans Park outside the library, the back of the library. And it's entitled Swords into Plowshares. The figure on the left with its hammer raised, the intention is that would be 7 foot high. So what you see here is a 30% size model of the original. The base would be pictured a little bit more of what you see on the screen. It is something that would be 15 feet long, 9 feet wide, and about 30 inches high. So again, the base that you see with this model is not representative of what would be built. That base would actually have a seating area around it so that people could come sit down, could chat about business, or because it's outside the library, maybe about books. That would be nice. The sculpture is, as you see, it's very much a silhouette. The full-size piece, as I said, would be about 7 feet high and be about 1 inch thick. It would be painted a dark color, as you see, like a dark blackish brown, and with kind of reddish brown accents painted in. It would be powder-coated paint, so it would be very resistant to the elements, and pretty resistant to vandalism also. Let's see, what's the message? It's about peace. Armed world conflicts need to be resolved through peaceful, nonviolent, and mutually equitable solutions. And it comes from a very well-known quote by Isaiah, they shall beat their swords into plowshares. But by no means is this intended to be a religious piece of art. I think it's a universal concept about peace. Let's see. So, as I said, the sculpture sits on a base. It would be in the back of the library. That would be an ideal position, I think. And you can see in the background the back library doors. The piece would have 2 tiers. The first tier would be about 21 inches high, and it's called a wall seat. It would be made out of a techno block, basically a cement block type material. Then the next level up would be about 10 inches high, and around that, higher pedestal portion where the sculpture would be placed Around that would be either pea stones or soil. If it was soil filled, we could plant annuals or perennials, low annuals or perennials around the sculpture. And it would be a very pleasant place to sit, really add a lot. Although Veterans Park is already very beautiful, very peaceful place, this would be another element to add to the site. And you can see from the picture behind me, that's a drawing that was produced by Green Meadows Landscaping, who are located right here in Oakland. They've been extremely helpful in working on this, volunteering their time at no charge, and also volunteering materials and labor at cost. So you can see in the picture a similar seat wall pedestal design that they installed at the Korean Presbyterian Church. And you can see the brown area around it, which again could be used as a planting area. I'm sorry, I'm blocking your way.
No, I moved my seat over. No, I could turn this way and that way. I'm okay.
So this gives you a little idea also how it might look behind the library. The first picture on the left would be looking from deep inside Veterans Park at the library, the back of the library. And the other picture on the right would be looking out the back library doors.
Is that where the wall used to be?
Yes, that's right. That's right. And it's I didn't have a chance to measure tonight, but I'm going to guess it's about probably 100 feet or so between the two retaining walls that are there. So this 15-foot pedestal with the silhouette sculptures on top is really not going to be taking up a lot of eye space, and it's not really going to be burdensome to the space, visually that is. The next picture is really just a grid, which for the fabricators to understand. Again, the figure on the left with the hammer raised is about 7 feet high. The lower figure bending over is about 6 foot high. It would be designed to be made into aluminum, 1 inch thick. And again, kind of a dark black silhouette with a reddish cast. The next page is the budget. Now, I want you to think in terms of something that's going to last generations. You know, this is not going to be something like a ball field that continually has to be maintained, or a soccer field that continually has to be maintained. This is something that's going to last 3-4 generations, and it's going to be quite substantial. And it's going to be something also that is going to have a lasting message for the citizens of Oakland and for visitors that come through. The fabrication of the sculpture would be done down in Hawthorne by Artistic Metal Works. Their cost with tax is $9,300. The pedestal, which again is being installed by Green Meadow Landscaping with a seat wall, it's going to materials and labor at a cost of $7,500. And that's no upcharge on their part. It's really just materials and their labor to do it. There could be some optional lighting, but that's not necessary. That would be estimated about $1,500, but I think we have a resident electrical expertise here that could say about what it might cost. And then some miscellaneous contingencies of $1,000 just in case. On my part, you know, there's no charge for the time that I put into it. What I will do in terms of management, it's just something I want to do for the town of Oakland. But the price is between, when you talk about the optionals and the contingency being out of it, up to the full cost, between $1,700 and $19,360. But again, this is something that's going to be lasting. It's not a temporal piece of art. It's not a temporal concept. It'll last much longer than the cars that you're driving, which probably cost 3 or 4 times the cost of this. And again, it's going to be here to inspire, it's going to beautify the park and add to the park, add to the community, and it's going to be a message that'll be about peace and hope. The park is about remembrance right now, about some terrible things that have happened, but this is about going forward and about peace. So it's a very contemplative place for everybody. And again, it's not a religious piece of art, it's something that's really for everybody. The piece was inspired by a small shadow box. I've been making these shadow boxes for quite a while.
Yes.
So this is what the original shadow box looked like, which is about the size of a shoebox on the wall, about 13 inches by 15 inches, maybe 3.5 inches wide. And so you can see the top figures were the basis of this sculpture. I have a background in business. It's what I've been doing for most of my life. But I also have a Master's of Arts from in sculpture. And I've been making art on the side for quite a long time. I don't
Best
know what
kept secret.
my wife is going to have a garage sale with all these steel shadow boxes I've been making. In fact, I said, in case I pass away, you can at least recycle them. You know, they're at least worth the steel. So.
Have you ever displayed them in the library?
Well, there's a lot of nudity involved. So it kind of puts them out of the race for the library. But
Is that why Larry's
but these I
sitting there?
put loincloths on these, so it's very
Okay.
very covered up.
So I've talked to you about this, and I've seen this. How about council people? Any
I have seen it.
questions?
I think it's been, I guess I do have one question.
Yes, sir.
Just because it's only 1 inch thick.
Yes,
How susceptible is it gonna be to somebody trying to knock it over or bend it?
I think the fabricators think it's going to be very, very sturdy. It could be done in steel, which would raise the price about maybe $2,000. The problem with steel, even though it's powder-coated colors on it, it still is susceptible to rust. You know, all you need is a little pinhole. Somebody, you know, takes a nail, it scratches it, you're going to get a little bit of rust in there.
No, I agree.
But with aluminum, you'll never get that.
I guess I'm sorry.
And excuse me, Councilman, the shanks on the bottom could be much thicker than what I've designed to
Okay.
make it sturdier.
I mean, I guess the other question would be, if somebody does try to knock it over, bend it, how repairable? I mean, how big a deal is it to repair it? If it's aluminum,
I think it'll be a pretty easy job to weld a new shank on the bottom, and that's it.
I think
It's
the
beautiful,
light,
by the way.
I think the lighting would help prevent.
Lighting, definitely.
Yeah,
Would help
yeah.
prevent vandalism.
You know, there's light that comes out of the back of the library at night. There's light around the beautiful stonework and the flags, but having light around it would also help.
Any questions on it?
Peter, you
Does our
got me
engineer
all
have any
hooked on
questions?
this.
beautiful.
Wait a minute,
Hold on.
wait a minute. Does our engineer have any questions?
Mayor, I just suggested maybe to prevent vandalism, lighting a good idea, and a very small camera from the library pointed outside.
Okay.
Mayor, you said that you attended a program recently with the Congressman Gottheimer about grants. Were there any art grants in there?
Actually, it was really for law enforcement.
Oh,
And
okay.
how can we relate this to law enforcement?
Hey, he's holding a gun.
Peter, I
I
just
do have a,
Wait a
I do
minute.
have a question.
Sure.
In the scheme of finance, Richard, would this be considered a capital improvement? In the private world, art and public art is not, art is not a capital improvement. Like if all the beautiful stuff on Larry's and the Presbyterian Church's property, that's not a capital improvement. But in municipal, it might be a different category.
You know, it's interesting because there are some projects when you reach certain thresholds, not that we've encountered it here, but for much larger scale projects, let's say that the state does or what have you, there are public art components to some of that. So without previously conferring with my CFO, I'm going to say yes, I would consider it, that it certainly has more than a 5-year useful life, and that would qualify for capital funding. But
Well, you
I don't know if
said- And you said something about the state art state,
Yeah,
New Jersey?
The New Jersey Arts Council.
Do they have any
they-
grants?
I don't believe they do. Not for public art, maybe for education and for promoting, but not really for art. See,
Mayor, if I
I
might-
understand that there could be funding available from the community
Development?
activity.
Are you talking about the Chamber of Commerce?
Not the Chamber of
Oh,
Commerce.
the Community of Commerce, which is the
what's-
Chamber of Commerce.
What's the program that,
Public events?
public events, yes.
Oh, we look that way.
Now, if it weren't considered a capital improvement, perhaps that money could be used, some of that money could be used from public events.
If I might.
Could we have
actually
a celebration around it to make it
Yeah.
a public event?
Peter, I have a suggestion. We did fundraising for the library, you were part of that, and my good friend,
Foundation.
Mr. Levine, was part of that. I just figured it out. With my $50 donation, you only need 399 more people.
Make it 398.
Okay?
Thank you.
So I think that would go over so well. I think people would be more than happy to donate and create something that Oakland has, created for and paid for by Oakland, by the people of Oakland.
With a
You know-
GoFundMe page?
You know what,
Yeah.
if you
And I could
listen
check
to
with the Bergen County Historical and Cultural
Okay.
and see if there's any funding
That's right, it's
available
also
there.
cultural.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you listen to my message earlier, I talked about visiting Troop 9. If you're listening, girls, because you were supposed to be watching, Troop 94659 are looking for activities and ways to raise money. They were talking about how they could fundraise for a project. Wouldn't this be wonderful, the Girl Scouts working with this? I'm going to,
How about this, we make it Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts?
this
and
was
have
the Girl
a
Scouts.
little competition.
No, this was the Girl Scouts for the silver one. But I'm going to contact my contact with this troop that are looking for projects and have them contact you also.
Okay.
But I think this is something we will have to discuss and
Why
figure
don't
it
we
out.
reach out, I'll reach out to CAC tomorrow and see if there is any
Community, see,
capital alternatives, like grant writers.
oh, the grant, Marlene.
Just to see if there's any, we have a grant writing company that we work with, actually.
Okay.
And maybe, Rich, you could talk to Michael, or you can.
I already made a note.
So we have grant writers that we work with.
Yeah, well, you know,
So,
something else too,
I mean,
Sustainable Jersey actually has a whole component of what they do that is geared towards the
Oh.
concept of social sustainability. And something like, some sort of cultural activity like this may fit in with that, so we'll check that out as
And we're
well.
appointing 2 more people tonight to that group.
Where does our central business,
There.
central business district go as far as the library? Or CBD one?
I don't know that it goes past Oak Street.
Well, this
Um,
touches Oak Street.
Well, yeah, but it's, I think our CBD one only goes up to Oak Street. I'm just thinking in terms of, we are working on a streetscape grant for a station park, part of which will be the park that we want to put on the other end of town. If this is outside of that central business district, it may not qualify, but if it is, it may. I'll also ask that tomorrow.
Peter, obviously, you're hearing that everybody's excited about this.
Great.
And we're all throwing out our ideas. So now we have to put our heads together and our thinking caps on. I'm going to reach out to the Girl Scouts. If John wants to, he could reach out to the Boy Scouts. I'm reaching out to the Girl Scouts. But, yes.
Yeah, I just have a question, Peter. I think it's a wonderful idea. Have you given any consideration to perhaps as a way to open this up to maybe Ramapo College or William Patterson University, because they do have the Fine Arts Sculpture Studio, for them to perhaps do a lot of the labor with this, and then this way they can be presented to Oakland or presented here as a way to tie it into curriculum?
Sure. I could investigate that, yes.
Because I mean, if they have budding artists that are willing to do this, and they're looking for a place to put it, and if they can act on your design and bring it to Oakland, I mean, that might be a win all the way around.
Okay, I'll
Now,
certainly check that out.
You started your presentation by talking about the different communities that have sculpture and parks.
Yes.
Are you suggesting that maybe this is one and having a little park, a sculpture park? Or
Well-
you just want this?
Well, now that you mention that, Mayor.
Well, I'm always
It's
outside.
it's rather small for you to see, I know, but I do have a handout for you. But I think it would be great for Oakland to create a Oakland Arts Council, the Oak.
I was thinking of that
Okay.
when we first met.
And from that, certainly, whether it's a board or a council or a committee, I don't know the best way to do it, but to have a group of 5 to 9 people in this council that would recommend public locations for art. Doesn't have to be freestanding, it could be on walls, on municipal building walls perhaps. Maybe some of the local business people would allow art to go on their walls for permanent as well as for temporary exhibit. And I was thinking what would make a great rotating sculpture park would be Stewart's Park, which is at the end of Laurel's Drive on Rampo Valley Road. Now it's a very pleasant place
Walking.
to walk your dog, take a little walk on your own, but it would be really neat to have perhaps 5 to 10 sculptures positioned in there, and perhaps every 2 years, a new group of artists would put their art there, just like Leonia does.
Well, the Danny Delia building, wasn't it Girl Scouts who painted?
We've got 4 murals down in Directfield.
That painted the
We have
wall?
Yeah, we have 4 murals.
Oh.
And this would also work too.
I remember that with the Danny
Great Walk,
Delia
Great Oak
building.
Park,
Okay,
do something like this there.
okay.
Yeah, just
Excuse me, Peter, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
The pedestal, that's gonna be, that would be delivered, installed, or all assembled, or would be built in, on place?
It would be on site. They would,
Built on site?
Green Meadows would install it on site. So they would assemble the concrete blocks and bring the soil in, or maybe the town can bring the soil in from the recycling center.
You know, we could do something like this, maybe even down near, other than the flood thing, we could do it down near the river if we could find some place. I mean, it's just because there's some nice areas along the river.
Well,
But no
You
one
know,
There's
would
stuff
see
that's
it.
waterproof.
although Great Oak Park is still developing, it would be wonderful at some point if there were security cameras and maybe better lighting to have,
Talk to Mike.
There's Mike.
to have, oh, Mike, you're Mike. Oh,
Juanito, yeah.
He
that's
keeps
fine.
quiet. See.
To have sculptures, along there. It would be really a pleasant place to walk.
That would be
and,
nice.
Well, when
Really
we first did the
interesting.
presentation in 2012,
Yes.
that was the idea to eventually,
Oh, okay.
I'm still trying to get the lawn done. But
Okay.
yeah, but eventually, yeah.
Yes. And it could, there again, it could be permanent works of art, or it could be a rotation from
Transition.
artists. It could be from people in town, could be area artists, it could be students from town, as long as it's going to be sturdy enough. So there's a lot of neat things to do. And I guess the third idea that I have, and then I'll be done. I mentioned earlier on, down in Long Beach Island, the big clams, okay? And, they're really a cool thing that people like to see. I don't know anybody that doesn't drive by one of those things and say, oh, look at the scene painted on that clam, look at the one on this, in front of this restaurant or this store. Why not create, if you can see on the graphic on the top, the oak leaf, why not create a large three-dimensional oak leaf and have it stand about maybe 4 feet high and have about 25, 30 of these, invite area businesses, area not-for-profits, area associations to sponsor them. So they would be paying for those, they'd be paying for the material to build them, and then there would be a balance of material left over, hopefully, that could go towards some of the money that would be needed to fund the Swords to Plowshare sculpture. But these large oak leaves could be positioned around town, and although I was going to talk about this next year to you, but about for the 120th anniversary of the town's incorporation, but why not do it a little ahead of time? And each business could sponsor it. So imagine the base might say Remax, or Another base might say ShopRite of Oakland. Another base for another leaf might say Ken's Shoes.
And where would you put the leaves?
The leaves would go on the sidewalk near the businesses. They might go along 202, just like the wonderful flower pots.
I was gonna say in
that
lieu of
Lara
the
Levine
flower
has,
pots.
Sponsored and Ronnie sponsored. In that general vein, to have those positioned around. And again, they wouldn't just be black and white leaf representations, it would be painted. So these groups that would sponsor each leaf, they would have the ability to get a group together and to paint something on there. It would be, have to be an accepted design by either the council or the.
But you're absolutely right,
Yeah,
Oakland
yes.
needs an Oakland Arts Council.
Yes, yeah.
So we have to figure out the best way to do that.
So if you like, Mayor, I'll research more.
Please,
and I'll
thank
get
you,
bylaws,
yes.
And I'll share them with the council and you. And then if you want to go forward, we can do that. And in the
Great, thank
meantime,
you.
I'm researching to build a big leaf, how to do that.
That would
Out
be
of
great,
fiberglass.
thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your time. It's
No,
really very nice
thank
of you
you,
all.
and the residents, thank you.
And I'll leave this with,
And I love your shadow boxes. the
oh,
ones
thank you.
show, yeah.
My website is in here, so if you want to
Yes.
check out my site, you can. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everybody. It was very nice of you.
Now, you're
You should
welcome to
leave- You should leave that
stay.
here. We like it.
Are you kidding with court?
I'd be happy to leave it
Borough Hall?
here or Borough
Oh,
Hall.
Borough Hall would be
If
great.
the
Yes.
library will allow it in the library.
I don't
Probably
think
better
here
at
is
the library.
ideal because of the, court.
Yeah, and it is, it's just made out of wood, so, it can be damaged.
It's actually, I love it, it's very cool.
Thank you.
There's an someone down there.
Okay. So at this time, we have raffle license. Hold on, get organized
Thank you.
here. We have raffle license 1349 for the Ramapo Youth Soccer Association for calendar raffle for various dates, May, June, July 2019. And is there a motion to
So
approve?
moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next one. Approve bingo license 1350 for Manitou School PTO. It'll be a pocketbook bingo, May 3rd at the American Legion Hall. And it is to help defer costs of the Manitou School student equipment and assemblies. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And raffle license 1351, again, another raffle license for Manitou School PTO on premises 50/50, May 3rd, 2019, also to help with student equipment and assemblies.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Now we have appointment to the Shade Tree and the Green Team, and these are mayor's appointments. And at this time, I am for the Green Team with, no, we'll do the Shade Tree first, because that's been on hold. I offer Peter Keycott to serve on the Shade Tree Commission. We have 2 openings, they're both the same for a 5-year term. And that was, we waited to hear from the Shade Tree Commission. So Peter Keycott, you are now going to be on the Shade Tree Commission. If you could see Lisa Duncan at Borough Hall for further information. The next is the Green Team, which is also a mayoral appointment, and we have 2 people who want to get on, and we have a very active Green Team, which is Sustainable New Jersey. And that is Marisol Kozlowski and Dylan Warner. They both are very interested in helping us with our Sustainable New Jersey. And so I offer those names. Again, both of you, Marisol and Dylan, please contact Lisa, our borough clerk, and she will give you further details. Now we have resolutions, and all the resolutions are... Who is that? Is that one of you up here?
No, it's him. It's Guardino.
Why didn't you know?
Guadagnino, whatever.
With that, these Look how red he's turning.
Excuse me, Mayor,
Yes.
I would like to, just before we get, I want to pull 1991, please.
1991
Yeah.
is authorized Boswell Engineering for roller hockey.
I want to just discuss that first.
Okay, so we'll hold that for last. Okay. All these have been discussed previously, they're now in resolution form. 1936 is the non-union salaries, there's a listing. If anybody needs copies of any of these, you can get them at Borough Hall. Resolution 1989 is the 2017 audit certification, and it's the annual report of audit for the year 2017, has been filed by a registered municipal accountant with the municipal clerk. What's making noise, sorry. 1990 is approval of the 2017 annual audit corrective action plan. You all had received copies of that, and it is formally accepted, said audit document as of February 27, 2019. If plan must be approved and filed within 60 days. 1991 is being held off, so everybody just hold on to that. 1992 is the authorized tax appeal settlement for 67 Overlook Ridge, Thomas Piano and Svetlana Piano, and that is Block 801, Lot 1, and it's a settlement appeal for the tax year 2018. The assessment of $1,039,600 is reduced to $950,000, resulting in a refund of $2,538.36, and the assessor will reduce the 2019 assessment to $900,000. 1993 authorized tax appeal settlement, which is for 6 Point View, known as, well, it's Block 803, Lot 9, Robert and Maria Tagliareni. It's for the tax appeal tax year for 2018, and as the assessment was $1,080,300, is reduced to $1 million, resulting in a refund of $2,274.90. And in 2019, the assessor has set the assessment at $950,000. 1994, the Planning Board has adopted a resolution approving a development by Bill Smith for the property located at Block 3311, Lot 2.02. That was back on and completed in June 12, 2018. A developer's agreement has been executed, been reviewed and approved by a borough attorney, and this approval will allow further subdivision of the original 5-lot subdivision to create a 6th lot, and this resolution was memorialized on November 10th, 2016, and this is to execute the amendment to the developer's agreement. 1995, approved vehicle auction bids. There are 4 vehicles. Make sure you have the up-to-date list. There was a 2001 Ford F-250 added. So the 2003 Mitsubishi 5,411, 1999 BMW 1,650, 1997 Ford F-250 $281, and the 2001 Ford F-250 $1,650. Resolution 1996, authorized agreement with the public defender. As you all are aware, we had originally appointed Jennifer Blum. She has since resigned to take the job as a full-time public defender for the Hudson County Public Defender's Office. And after the borough's review team has determined that Diane D'Alessandro will be most advantageous for the borough, and Diane D'Alessandro will serve as the borough's public defender for the year 2019. 1997, award bid demolition of properties, Roosevelt Boulevard Phase 1. Roosevelt Boulevard demolition. Bids were received February 5th, and IBN Construction Corp., located in Newark, was the lowest and responsible bid with a total price of $85,606, and that the bid in the total amount of $85,606 be accepted. Resolution 1998, award bid firefighter equipment. We're in the Wolf Cooperative Pricing System with Wyckoff and Franklin Lakes. The Township of Wyckoff is the lead agency. And the listing of all the equipment is within. Resolution 1999, change order 2. This is a change order for the fire suppression system project at the Senior Citizen Center. The original award was for $354,000 to La Rocca, Inc. A change order 2 has been requested to upgrade the ceiling tiles, $9,375, and this is what this increase will be. And 19,100 is to appoint per diem dispatchers. And these are per diem dispatchers and so Matthew Renone, I apologize, at a salary of $20.50 per hour, and he's from Linwood. The second one is to Thomas Piantini, who lives in Franklin Lakes, New Jersey, at a hourly fee of $25.63. As a consent agenda, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Bianchi?
Yes.
Councilman Nash?
Yes.
Councilman Kamala?
Yes.
Councilman Levy?
Yes.
Councilman Pincatelli?
Yes.
Councilman Talamini?
Yes.
Okay, now we're going back to Resolution 1991, authorize Boswell Engineering roller hockey rink improvements. The proposal was dated February 5th, 2019. Work required not to exceed $27,750. Is there a motion?
Well,
So-
Mayor, I'd
Before
like to
discussion?
just,
Before
quick
discussion.
discussion. I know at the last meeting we discussed that I know certainly Councilman Knapp and I felt it a pretty steep number for, since it's just the roller rink. I do know, I guess, John, you added the bid spec onto it, is included?
I added bid services to
For
it,
bid
yes.
service? So you'll prepare the bid spec for the same price?
Yes, prepare the bid spec, review the bids, prepare a recommendation to the mayor and council, prepare a bid tab, which was not included in the previous proposal,
But now is.
but now is.
All right, thank you. That's all, I just wanted
So,
to make sure we were.
But the resolution, do we have to
No,
change?
it remains unchanged.
All right, but it's on the record.
Yeah, you can't, tell Kevin you can't go back.
Is
It's
there
on
a
the
motion
record,
to-
and it'll be in the contract as well.
Is there a motion to approve?
So
So
moved.
second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Bianchi?
Yes.
Councilman Nash?
Yes.
Councilman Kamala?
Yes.
Councilman Levy?
Yes.
Councilman Pincatelli?
Yes.
Councilman Talamini?
Yes.
We have an introduction of an ordinance to amend the salary ordinance, that's 19 Code 780. Is there a motion?
So moved?
Second?
Second.
We do roll call on the introduction? Yeah, I have that as roll call, yes.
Councilman Bianchi?
Yes.
Councilman Nash?
Yes.
Councilman Kamala?
Yes.
Councilman Levy?
Yes.
Councilman Pincatelli?
Yes.
Councilman Talamini?
Yes.
And the final hearing will be
March 13th.
March 13th, so anybody is welcome to come pick up the proposed ordinance and may speak on it. We'd love to hear from you. Work session, proposed power plant. Mr. Conlon.
Really, this is at council's discretion for a discussion. I think the last meeting, everybody asked to have this listed. Materials were provided by a couple of entities for your consideration, so that was included for your review and then discussion this evening.
Did everybody read the materials?
Yes.
Did anybody have any comments? Well, I'd like to hear what you'd like to do. No one has any comments, so
Well,
should we table this and give everybody another 2 weeks to discuss?
excuse me, Mayor?
Yes.
Actually, the material that we're given is being presented by people who have very specific agendas. And I think in order to make an informed, in order to make any kind of informed action on this, I think we need to be able to hear from someone that's somewhat objective.
Well, the
Rich, is
Bergen
that
Record was
possible?
part of this, the editorial.
I would
Are you
refer
aware
to news, perhaps, news media articles, but in terms
Well, it
of
was in
hearing
there,
from somebody.
Rich. We
Yeah.
had an editorial from the Bergen Record
Yeah.
who called for it to be approved. And it listed all the good things that it would provide. And then all the other people, as Lou pointed out, were the
Right.
skeptics.
So, I guess the point being is that people have agendas. newspapers have agendas, everybody has
Yeah,
an
everyone has
agenda, and I guess, I think in order for us to make any kind of recommendation on an action for the borough, you know, it behooves us to try and find some.
There are very specific pros and cons. The
Yeah.
people who are in favor are claiming that it will have no effect to us and it will create jobs.
Right.
But people who are opposed to it say it will have a very negative effect to
I-
us and our environment, and all the power is going to New York. So that's a very quick summary of the pros and the cons.
I understand what they are, the problem is what's the truth?
Oh, well, the truth,
No, it's a balancing.
a truth, excuse me,
It's actually what you see when you see the attorney's office, you see the
excuse
scales.
me.
I don't want to say anything, Brian's not here. I don't want to tease her.
I could say, well, the Bergen County section of the League of Municipalities passed a resolution of opposing. There are some towns that have passed resolutions opposing, and there are towns who have not passed any resolutions. And it's up to each individual town to decide, and it's like the same thing occurred with the pipeline resolution. Even if we pass it, does it have any, I don't know. I don't know. I read the reports on both sides, but I am not knowledgeable enough with engineering, with the environment and engineering and.
John, you're an
and-
engineer.
Yes, John.
Let's ask you. This
We'll
is
put you on the
just
spot.
for the record, this is on your retainer. Go ahead.
It
go.
is. I don't know enough about the subject.
Well, look, I mean,
that's-
my opinion is if the power is gonna be for New York, why don't they build it in New York?
Exactly, that's what the
I mean, you know,
negatives are saying.
Yeah, I mean,
And the
there might be
proponents-
jobs in New Jersey, but they're gonna be only temporary jobs. But,
No,
Well, you have to
there'll
run
be
the power
full-time
plant.
jobs there too, Pat.
but I mean, but the power is for New York.
Powers for New York, but it'll be all
They
New
should
Jersey.
they
It'll be
should
all New
also
Jersey
benefit.
workers.
But they should also benefit.
So the question is, we're not ready to really vote on this.
I'm against it.
You know what, you really don't vote unless you're sure you want to
Yeah,
vote.
I'm
Anybody
sure.
else have any, anything in the electrical? Wait, you have relatives in that area of the county, do they?
I don't see why we have to weigh in either way on this proposal. It's, you know, some of us agree, some of us disagree, and no matter what we do, it's not going to affect what's being done there. So I really don't think it's something that.
But it'll affect our
come
environment.
down,
I
it'll come
agree.
down to what the state does.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I have my personal views on it, then I have my other views on
Right.
it, that I'm part of a pension system, what?
Well, they're
Everyone that will be working there, guys in my union.
Sure.
So,
So the
Torn.
bottom line is, but you're not, so you have to
Well, you can
think,
abstain.
the thing is, we're not ready to vote on it either
Right.
way.
May-
We
may-
have to do some more discussion,
Mayor,
yes.
I agree with you 100%, and I think that it was a very different situation when we were passing the resolution for the pipeline in
Yes.
Oakland.
It's
Because it was here, and it affected us directly, and we had a lot of information supporting that. And I don't feel that, and I agree with you, Mayor, I don't think there's enough information that
Right,
we can,
you're right.
and what Mr. Levy said, as far as really understanding the subtleties of exactly what it is that we're passing.
Right, I just
We need
gave
more
you a
information.
summary of the pros and the cons, but that's you know, like a big picture.
10,000
You're
foot
right.
view.
You're right, so, we're not ready, so we'll move on. Donation of vehicle to Oakland First Aid Squad, was that something?
Yeah, I think this one was a little bit easier than the power plant issue. We have a vehicle, a 2012 Chevy Tahoe with approximately 82,000 miles. It's going to be rotated out of service, or is actually being rotated out of service with the police department as part of our regular replacement program. The First Aid Squad has asked for that vehicle as a donation to replace a current older Crown Victoria. I don't know the year of the Crown Victoria, but they haven't made them in over 10 years, I don't think so. That'll give you some
Very old.
sense of it. And we have no objection to the donation of the vehicle.
Anybody want to comment? With not? Okay,
okay.
okay,
Okay, we'll have a resolution on the next meeting.
okay. Does anybody have any new business? Old business?
Mayor?
Some business, yes.
Could Mr. Bialy provide an update on the Van Allen House?
Well,
Oh,
we'll
it's
go
in my
around with the
report.
committee
Okay,
report.
Okay, so your report, okay.
Okay, so, we'll start with the committee. You know, we're gonna start at this end this time.
Oh, okay. So I will be brief. Great Oak Park. I really have nothing since the last council meeting because we haven't had a meeting. Our meeting is scheduled for March 6th, next week in the Danny D building at 7 o'clock. Fire Department's report for the month of January. Calls for service 24 hours for calls for service 212, 3 drills, 9 hours for the drills, 1 standby, 26 total man hours. So far year to date for the month of January, 28 calls total, that's drills and calls for service, 247 hours. Once again, volunteered to the borough. From the police side, their report for the month of January, motor vehicle stops 390, school checks 89, ambulance request, it says 58, I believe there's more than that, but they categorize them differently here. Motor vehicle crashes 36, traffic enforcement details 18, radar details 17, and then fire calls again would be the 24. So these are just some of the things that the police are doing as well. And then certificates for the officers. I have to teach the captain how to send them to me because they're all different shapes and sizes. But the bottom line is, the big one for the month seemed to be for January, police officer training on immigration directive. And I believe, from what I could see, the majority, if not every member of the police department went to it. And there was some other incidental training in here, but I'd have to flip myself upside down to read it. So, more to come on.
You could turn the computer upside down.
No, but then they'll flip.
Oh.
So, anyway, that is my report.
Thank you.
Yeah, not much.
Very reportive. Well, thank you. The Shade Tree Commission and the Flood Commission will be meeting this month. I reported on them last month, but the Shade Tree Commission will meet Monday at Borough Hall in the conference room, and the Flood Commission will meet the second Monday of this month of March, and will meet also at the conference room in Borough Hall at 7:30 in the evening. The Shade Tree Commission would like to welcome Peter Kirkott. We appreciate your volunteering. And I think that's it.
Thank you. Councilman.
Yes, Mary, thank you. I'd like to apologize to the Green Team. I had a conflict, had another meeting to go to last night. I was not able to attend the Green Team meeting.
That would help.
And yeah, I was unable to attend the Green Team meeting last night due to a conflict. But I will be able to go next month. And
he just got passed a note.
not to block my microphone. Well, I didn't even have the microphone on, never mind blocking it. But anyway, and the Environmental Commission is going to meet next Tuesday, the 5th.
We are
That's it.
very lucky with this Green Team and Environmental Commission. They are working very hard.
Very hard, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, we have some very motivated members, which is very nice, yes. Thank you.
Okay, Councilman, you want to be last or next?
You want me to do it?
Why don't we go
Okay.
last? Why don't we do Councilman Talmini?
Okay.
Why?
Okay, sorry.
Got you off guard there, Russ.
Yes.
Oh, look who's here.
You get double
He gets the detention.
No, you don't get double billing.
I'm going to sit here where Mayor Picoli today.
Public events, we're going to have the Easter egg hunt. That's going to be on Saturday, April 13th at, it starts at 9:30 a.m. We're going to have, there'll be a train ride, there'll be other,
Oh, the train.
other activities, and then the Easter egg hunt starts at 10 o'clock. But get there at 9:30. We're going to start 10 o'clock sharp, so if you're not there, you're going to miss it, and you're going to have some upset kids. it's 10 a.m. on Saturday. The rain date will be on Sunday, the 14th. And also, we need new members. We always need members on the public events, and it's a great organization, and they do a lot for the town, and I'm really proud to be associated with it. Schools. I don't know if you know, they sent out a couple email blasts and stuff. There was two lockdown drills in the schools today, one at Valley Middle School and one at Dogwood. They were set up by the State Department of Education. In January, they contacted the schools. They said they go around and they test the schools for informative purposes. You're not being graded. You're not being penalized for doing something wrong or anything like that. They just want to you go through it and then they let you know, hey, you could do this a little better. You could do this a little better. But so they were contacted in January, and then they picked a date in February. They had representatives from the state there, the state police, the education department, the local police department, the prosecutor's office, and from everything that I've heard, they were very impressed with how we ran the drill and how everyone responded. And they'll get an official report back, but they were very pleased with it. And they only did the 2 schools. They were talking about doing a 3rd school, but they thought they did enough with what they had.
I went to the school when they had the panel for the award for character for Valley Middle School. Any feedback, any news on this? We're getting the award of the character award?
Oh, I didn't hear it, no.
Nothing new?
No.
Okay,
nothing.
no feedback, yeah. Okay.
And then just, I don't want to do it in with the Van Allen House, but just by coincidence, the day that the DPW was tarping the Van Allen House, I was headed to work. I was dropping my daughter off at school first, and then headed to work. And I stopped by just to see how they were doing and just look because we had discussed it at the thing, and I had talked with Anthony about how you're going to cover with the tarp, and I was like, just do the best you can. I know it's going to look terrible no matter what you do, and then when it was done, it looked, they did such a good job of tarping it, and really I was so nervous that it was going to look like the Stream House when they put that bright blue covering on the Stream House, and really thank you, because I drive past it every day, and it's just, if it was going to look like, if they were going to make it worse, I don't know what I was going to do, and they did such a nice job, and I really appreciate it, and thank you.
Again, the DPW.
Yeah.
Is it snowing out?
Not yet.
Oh, okay. Just check, you guys, everybody walks in, we ask us if it's snowing out.
Why is it, oh, that's right, you have that tiny little thing of a car.
And that's it, thank you.
Thank you. Councilman.
Mayor, just real brief, we had a rec commission meeting last night, 8 o'clock. Only thing that should really report on the safe softball and baseball signups are currently ongoing. Still OCC needs looking for members and a couple commissioners. And I just want to reiterate what the mayor said, Flow Follies, we need people in the seats. It is a fundraiser for Indian Hills and Ramapo. The dates are March 7th, 8th, and 9th at 7:30 p.m. right here in Indian Hills. And also on March 10th at 2 p.m. for the matinee. Tickets currently are $15 for adults and $10 for seniors. So
And you get lunch on Sunday.
And it's actually a really pretty funny play, so please come out and support the scholarship program for Indian Hills and Ramapo. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
To the flow area. Yes, Councilman.
Council update, senior update, senior program continues to take place at the lower level of the library. Movie day is scheduled for Thursday, March 7th at 12 p.m. The movie schedule is Academy Award-winning Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh.
Bingo is scheduled for Thursday, March 21st, also at 12 p.m. Also scheduled for March 21st is presentation of bagels and dizziness with causes and cures, and this will be presented by the Pro Staff Physical Therapy Department of Oakland. And I spoke to Ariel today, and I was trying to decipher what's the correlation between bagels and dizziness. There isn't any. She said they're gonna talk about dizziness
Well, you go
with
around
the
and
seniors and what causes it,
And you get a
and then they're
bagel.
gonna serve bagels.
Oh, okay.
So I thought the bagels were causing the dizziness, but that's not what it was. A reminder that the senior club meetings are being held at the Knights of Columbus Hall on the second and fourth Thursdays of the month. And the spring trip to Resorts Casino to Monticello, New York is scheduled for Thursday, April 4th, and is now open for registration.
Ah,
Registration is now only open to residents of Oakland, and they can sign up with Ariel, who's in the lower level of the library.
do they have to be a senior?
Yes, this is for a
A
senior trip.
senior resident of Oakland.
Senior residents. And I imagine this here typical way of saying this is if they don't have enough people to man the buses, they'll ask for people from outside Oakland
Or younger.
or younger. For any seniors who need help with their tax preparation, assistance is offered by Bergen County, and you must make an appointment at the Senior Center in Midland Park. So those interested can call 201-445-5690 to schedule an appointment.
I just have to add to something that, because my husband's a CPA and he does volunteer taxes, he was assigned to West Milford. And ARP is the sponsoring agent. And so someone called and said, can I go up to West Milford? So Steve said, well, wait a minute, my husband Steve said, wait a minute, they also do free taxes in Bergen County. It's not just Midland Park, there's also Fairlawn, and there's also Mawa.
But I think Oakland is assigned to Midland Park.
But-
They split them up.
But, yes, the people are assigned, like my husband was assigned to do the taxes in West Milford. But if you don't want to go to Midland Park, you can call and make an appointment in also Fairlawn and Mawa
Okay.
at the senior centers.
I'm just following what the senior director told me,
That's okay, you know, everybody has options and choices.
Okay, DPW update. Potholes. The Department of Public Works will continue to repair potholes throughout our borough on days when weather permits. Since January the 2nd, the DPW has filled 467 potholes and will continue its efforts by sending crews out weekly or until that is completed. Please report any potholes to the department by phone at 201-337-8103 or by making a service request on the borough website. Christmas trees. This year, the Public Works Department collected 1,273 trees from our residents during the month of January. The residents that may have missed the final collection, a date of January 31st, can call the DPW with their address, and a tree will be collected as scheduling allows. On January 26th, an environmental inspection by EJIF was conducted at the Department of Public Works Service Building along with our water treatment plants and well facilities. A few of the other areas inspected include our fuel dispensing area, the vehicle maintenance garage, and all compost storage tank records. The department is pleased to report that the DPW received a final score of 100% with no points deducted during this entire review. Kudos to Anthony Marcaselli and his entire staff for working so diligently to protect our environment.
Thank you.
Historical and cultural. Following the alert received from a member of the Historical Committee, Rich, Bob Knapp, John Yakimic, and myself walked through the building and discovered water leaks and a good measure of black mold growing throughout the building. Anthony is making calls. Anthony has already made the call. I wrote this before he did. We had a similar issue in one of the buildings I'm building, and a remediation company with a lot of history with mold situations could be put on board just to do an inventory and a report on what's there. Because if you call a remediation company, they'll come in and write everything up in the world. So if you call a professional guy in to assess and report, then we have the substantive report to give to them and say, do this, rather than then taking a free slate and doing everything in the building possible and giving us a bill that would knock us over. So Anthony's made that call today, and I sent a copy of the report they did for me to Rich and Anthony today, and it's very comprehensive. I don't know if you took a look at it, but it is what, I think it is what we're looking for. Also, as Russ pointed out, the DPW did a great job. We tried to get a mauve green that would fit in with the background, but they didn't have one. They only had a black one, a tarp, that covered the building, and the DPW guys did an excellent job of nailing the tarp to the building all around the perimeter edge and up on the roof. So if you pass by, it's not even noticeable.
No,
They
it's not.
did such a good job.
You're right, it's
So
not.
it worked well. Patriots Way Bridge issue, a meeting has been scheduled for March 1st with the County Office of Engineering to engage in conversation about the Patriots Way Bridge. As we know, the bridge is now open to all traffic through an emergency appropriation by the DOT. We're now putting the funds together to complete the permanent fix of the bridge, but we're trying to engage the county into assuming the bridge after we get through making the corrective action. And I just wanted to bring up one other thing. I just want the public to know that the Van Allen house is being protected from water seepage into the building because of deterioration of the old roofing system. Rich is also entertaining bids right now for a roof replacement, that's for the dormer. The Van Allen house already has been addressed. At the beginning of every year, the council members are assigned different borough committees, borough organizations, and borough properties as liaisons. Liaisons are used primarily to communicate activities between organizations or entities. The 6 council members were given assignments by Council President Bob Knapp at the beginning of the year. The assignments given me were Senior Center, DPW issues, and historical and cultural. This being my 10th year on the council, I have come to understand the protocol and courtesy we each offer other council members when it comes to professional courtesy. That is, if I notice something related to public safety that needs to be addressed, I would give a shout out to Bob Knapp, since that is one of his responsibilities. An example of that occurred last week when I received a phone call from Lou Levy, who shared information about a grant writer who may be able to find funds for us to deal with the Van Allen historical site. Now Lou handles the borough grants, and he knew about the ongoing issues we were having with the various issues at the historical.
With Councilman Kamala, I handle the grants, just
Okay.
for the record.
At our last council meeting, I was completely taken by surprise when Councilman Kamala proceeded to give a report on the conditions at the Van Allen House, as reported to him by one of the historic committee members. Now, the proper way to have handled that is for her to refer that person to me, or to give me a call to share the information given him. Instead, Councilman Kamala decided to visit the Van Allen House with that person, take photos, and report as he did at the council meeting. Councilman Kamala's actions indicate that he either doesn't understand protocol or professional courtesy, or he does understand it, and he has decided not to follow it, and what would be considered the right thing to do. Was his intent to be considered a special person for the discovery of the conditions? I don't know. I do believe there is a question that Councilman Kamala can only answer. I feel very uncomfortable in making this public, but I did text Councilman Kamala 3 days ago and offered him the opportunity to address the issue, and I offered him again tonight to address it. He has decided not to. So he's decided to be unprofessional courtesy by not responding to me at all. Thank you.
Mayor, may I respond?
Sure.
Absolutely.
With all due respect to Councilman Bialy, this was an issue that was brought in front of this governing body in October of last year.
And we addressed it then. And it was addressed then.
Okay.
By the DPW
All right.
guys.
At this
Hang
point,
on.
we're not going to argue. This is something the two of you should be discussing, and let's leave
I
it.
attempted to do that, Mayor.
All right.
Except I got no response.
Okay. All right.
I just want to say, thank you, Mr. Bialy, for addressing the immediate issue of the Van Allen House and stopping the water leak and moving forward. I think the most important thing here is just, let's deal with the building and
we have a
fix it.
problem
And
with
there's-
the
and you have- and
There's
you-
a, there's a,
All
pro-
right,
there's
stop,
an issue
stop,
before
all right,
that.
all right. We have a problem with the Historic Society. They're claiming stewardship, but they're not doing whatever they think they're supposed to be doing as a steward of the buildings. So, rather than argue, I am begging the president of the Historic Society to contact us to set up a meeting. I also asked for a list of members. I've gotten nothing, no response. It is important. I'm getting petitions, blank petitions. I have no idea what they are. But if you are so concerned about the Van Allen House and the Stream House, at least contact us, sit down with us, and let's figure out what we're going to do together with the Historic Society. Because as you heard, the agreement has expired. You really don't have the stewardship of the buildings. And if I recall, and if I'm still certain, Mr. Kranz, the building is locked for hazard reasons?
Yeah, it's closed to the public.
For safety
and-
reasons.
And to the Historical Society at the moment as well. We don't want anybody in there until we have a chance to take care of the condition.
So, this was great because it opened up a wound that has been seething for a long time. We have to sit down with you. You can't pick and choose the issues you want to focus on. You have to contact us immediately. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to open to the
So
public.
moved.
Second?
Anybody wish to speak? If not, motion to close.
So moved. Second?
Bills to be paid. Councilman, are you there?
I'm here. Bills to be paid, $145,386.35. So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Bialy.
Yes.
Councilman Net.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Levy.
Yes.
Councilman Pimentelli.
Yes.
Councilman Palomino.
Yes.
Now, the next meeting will be, well, before we do that, this is the budget time of the year. This is the time we go through our budget, we have a draft budget. However, we have to meet with department heads. And the council came up with a date, and, Councilman, do you want to talk about the
23rd
budget
is
meeting?
Yes.
Saturday, the 23rd.
Well, it was
Saturday,
Saturday, the 23rd of March.
March, and it will start at 8:30. It's going to be here in council chambers. Is it going to be televised? If there is a crew, it will be televised. If not, you're welcome to come. This is an open meeting. You can give your suggestions, your opinions, your comments, your compliments on the budget. We will have the rec.
Yeah, I can't be there.
Oh, you can't, can you send a rep?
23rd's not gonna work.
What is it?
23rd's not, we'll talk afterwards.
Okay.
23rd's not gonna work. for the
But-
rest.
So you get no money then?
Oh,
We bring it in ourselves.
can you
We
send,
don't
can
need
you,
your money.
Yeah,
can
but
you
Neil-
send your
Neil-
can you send Neil?
Neil will be there, right?
Neil?
Recreation can't be here on the 23rd.
Oh, at all?
Like, he's probably has softball, I think. No, Recreation
All
can't
right,
be.
we'll discuss rec.
We'll do
It will be
We'll
fire.
do it at a meeting here.
It will be fire. It'll be
Police.
police,
Yep.
Library.
library,
DPW.
DPW.
But I have a favor to ask.
Wait a minute, aren't there 6?
Uh,
There's now the,
No, there's
not
Five?
budgets.
Recreation.
Rec
five,
was
it's
5.
typically 5.
All right, so it'll be 4 and, yes?
Yes, me?
Yeah, yes,
Can we move
you.
it to 8 o'clock? I know it's Saturday morning.
It's okay, I could do
But I
it
have
at
to
8.
leave early, so the more we can get in, the better.
Can we do 8 o'clock?
I can do it.
Yeah,
8 o'clock. It's not 8:30, it's 8 o'clock.
I'm good with
Just for Bob.
Yes, we'll make the sacrifice.
Linda, how about 6?
Bob Universe.
We might need to be reciprocal.
We will have coffee.
How about donuts?
And what about bagels? But
We
not
will
Disney
have
bagels.
coffee.
No dizziness, though.
We will arrange to have coffee, so if you come, you can enjoy a cup of coffee.
I'd like Starbucks.
We'll see, we'll see.
Maybe
we'll
a
see.
half latte.
Okay,
half-
so that is on Saturday, the 23rd, and it is at 8, and you're okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, and Mr. Kunz, you'll arrange with the various departments, minus rec.
They're playing hooky.
What about Great Oak Park? Will they be here?
They're not part of the,
I know.
they don't have to
Just let
attend.
him talk.
Okay, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The next meeting will be held March 13th. turn your computers off.
No big legal decisions tonight.
Okay.